Hey, Grimmy here, and today we're going to be doing another Dokkan comparison video. This one's between the Part 2 LRs of the 9th anniversary of Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. It's going to be between Gohan Beast, if he'll load, there we go, and Gamma 1 and 2. Why did you stay for the... That's dumb, like, it's pretty obvious who's better, and that's going to be Gohan. So we're going to be spending most of the video here talking about Gohan, but to make it fair, I'll make sure that Gamma 1 and 2's kits are covered in this video. And the reason I say that these characters are like worlds apart is because I was doing the EZA event, the Extreme Battle, the Extreme Z Battle, for both UI Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta from the 6th anniversary. And what happened was that my friend leader was Gamma 1 and 2, because my team is set to superhero and they lead 200% for them. So it would make a lot of sense why they were put on there automatically, but they were horrible, because I tried putting them in slot 1 thinking they would be able to survive. No, not even close. They just died instantly, and that was pretty disappointing overall. I think it took away my hype for the character. I actually used my 50 tons of thanks tickets on this guy, and I didn't pull him either, so it is very disappointing. I guess I'll get it right out of the way. This character is pretty decent at the start of the battle, and then when the standby skill is active, I'm pretty sure the condition is not too crazy, 70% or less HP, or after the character performs 3 or more attacks in battle. So again, it's really easy. If this character's, if you can pop additionals with this character, using the standby skill is going to be really easy, and it'll definitely be a conversation of when you're going to use it, rather than when it's going to be available so that you can use it immediately. I definitely think that you'll get the choice in order to, whether you want to pop it now or pop it later. And that's mostly where the character's value comes from, because the standby skill does do a lot of damage. It's practically guaranteed if you build the character correctly, and if they land the crit, then it's probably going to pass Goku and Frieza's 10 million damage requirement. So that's definitely one way to do damage, but I don't see why you would run them over any other member of superheroes, because they're just not that impressive, and they're missing a lot of, I guess, key healings, I suppose. Like signature pose. Which character on superheroes is on signature pose other than these guys? Android Assault? RR Army? Are you kidding me? What are you supposed to do with RR Army when you're using Gohan Beast, UI Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, both UI Gokus, by the way? They're not gonna have Red Ribbon Army, I'll tell you that, okay? They're probably just gonna have Legendary Power and Fierce Battle, that's it. And so that in turn I think definitely makes up for a lot of the character's value. I'm not saying they're bad, and for doing, I guess, artificial life forms missions, androids missions, you can definitely see these guys come in and do a lot, and put in just a lot of effort, make a huge impact in the fight, not just talking about the standby skill animation, but also in terms of like the contributions of damage and overall survivability. I won't say that this character is amazing, because I've never even popped the character's standby skill ever, so it's going to be a bit more difficult for me to judge the character. And feel free to let me know if I'm definitely skipping parts of the character's design, because I don't actually have them. If there is like a part that I'm missing that makes them really good, I'd love if you could tell me in the comment section down below. But now moving on to the actual part of the video that everybody wants to watch, it's going to be about Gohan Beast. Now, he has a flexible 200% leader skill, which a lot of people do actually tend to like, in comparison to the kind of leader skill that Future Gohan has, that Gamma 1 and 2 has, where it's just a flat 200% for a specific category. I think those leader skills definitely make it a lot more straightforward and just a lot more practical when it comes to building teams, because you know just which characters you're going to be putting on that team. Whereas with this, it makes team building a lot more complicated, but at the same time it makes it a lot more broad. It makes it easier for you to choose characters and build a team, especially considering this character's links and Gohan's categories. It's super expansive. You can definitely put him on almost any fight and he'll dominate, right? Now, starting off with his super attack, he has a unit super attack, which is really cool, because I don't think we've seen a unit super attack from an LR in a really long time, and so seeing it come from this Gohan is really cool, especially the animation with Piccolo. I think there is definitely a point to be made, because if you compare this Gohan to a character like Orange Piccolo, one thing I noticed is that they don't actually share a lot of links. They just have Legendary Power and Fierce Battle, so if you put these two characters on the same rotation, it won't be that impressive. And so if you don't have all those links active, then I guess one thing that's going to really bring the character down is that the regular Ultra Super Attack is a unarmed melee super attack, so if there's a boss who can nullify that, it's going to get nullified, whereas if you run him with Piccolo on the same rotation, then what'll happen is that, you know, it doesn't have an effect, so it's going to be impossible to nullify unless the boss does have that ability to just nullify everything. But who are we going up against? Zamasu? Overall, I'd say the character is pretty decent. Not decent, amazing, in terms of the super attack effects, just because it's just really strong. There's a fear effect on the unit super attack, which is something you can see on the 7th year anniversary characters, where on their ultra super attack after transforming, they apply the enemy with interruption, so they don't use their next attack, but just the one. And here you can see how Gohan raises attack infinitely, and raises defense for one turn, because this character's defense at his base is already crazy. I think that's one thing that definitely is worth pointing out when it comes to talking about Gohan Beast, because he's one of the few characters in the game who are just good right off the bat. You don't have to see him build up for him to be amazing. He is defensively and offensively incredible at the start of the fight. Talking about this massively, this Yu-Gi-Oh level passive skill, it may actually even be longer than some cards, but here you can see that he gets a lot of ki, a high chance to crit, and his additional crit chance when his ki is 24. And so this character is definitely made to have additionals, to be a character built with additionals in mind, because critting is not going to be a problem for the character. It's going to be on very rare instances where Gohan Beast does not crit. Now, talking about the characters, I guess the rest of the passive, I suppose, you have... Where do I even start with this? The damage reduction is insane, and the defense increase is also crazy. 250% to defense at the start, just at a base, and then an additional 80% defense when receiving an attack, and damage reduction by 20%. What? Am I reading this correct? I haven't actually read Gohan Beast's kit, I just know that he's good and very reliable, but he reduces damage received by 20% as well. I'm pretty sure that activates when... Oh, I don't actually know which part of the passive that's connected to. I guess if receiving an attack when ki is 24, he reduces damage received by 20%. And again, this character is really light on ki. It's very easy to build up to that ultra super attack, so getting ki is not going to be a problem for this character, which is why I like the way the character is built. On top of that, he also gives allies ki, 3 ki, when receiving an attack, which is really strong in my opinion, because you get to see like characters who may have a bit of issues with how they acquire ki, and that problem completely goes away, or I guess partially goes away, when Gohan gets hit, because they get an additional 3 ki, and it may be the difference between performing an ultra super attack and a regular super attack. It does add layers to the fight, as in if you don't pay attention, you may actually get caught, and you may actually pop the effect of the ultra super attack when you actually want to pop the effect of the regular 12 ki super attack. But it's very niche, it doesn't actually happen very often. A lot of times these characters are built to perform their ultra super attacks along with their super attacks, so you're not really missing on a lot there in terms of the modern state of the game. The critting, again, very crazy. The damage reduction is very obvious. You can see it very clearly. Out of all the characters on superheroes, he's the only character who can tank to such a level, and then you add on the active skill. It's a really simple animation in my opinion. They could have gone a bit harder, but at the same time, I think it's really cool how Gohan just says, "Is that all you've got?" And the active skill is called Gohan's Confidence. He taunts the boss. He taunts all enemies. All attacks are directed to him. He gets 24 ki, which means he pops a lot of the effects on his passive completely for free, and gets 158% defense, which may not look like a lot, but it's crazy. It allows you to survive so many attacks completely for free. Like, and you don't even have to put in any effort to watch this guy survive some of the hardest hitting attacks in the game. Have you seen Gohan Beast get killed before? I don't think so. A lot of times what will happen is that Gohan Beast's allies will get killed and you lose the fight, because no other character can defensively perform like him. And we have to remember that this defensive effect, Is it attached to the turn? I'm not actually entirely sure, if I'm being completely honest. But even if it is, if it's just for that turn, Gohan's defensive capabilities are insane. And it's only when his intro runs out, because that's where 40% of his damage reduction comes from. If that runs out, then obviously the character is going to start to taper off and get weaker as the fight progresses, because that's how Gohan Beast operates. He's really good at the start of the battle, but as you progress, as you make the fight longer and longer, if you can't make the hits count, then Gohan Beast will eventually fizzle out in terms of performance. It's something that you can definitely see if you choose some like really long pieces of content, because once you lose that 40% damage reduction, 40% crit chance, and 8 ki, then there's nothing there. You're going to be losing a lot of the stats that make the character really strong, both defensively and offensively. Now, in terms of value, right, let's have the value discussion. Let's have the comparison, which is what this video is all about. In terms of raw damage, it's going to be Beast. In terms of raw defense, it's going to be Beast. In terms of mechanics, it's going to be Beast. And in terms of value, right, it's going to be Beast. Why are we here? It's going to be Beast because he is the strongest unit on the superheroes team, which is saying a lot considering some of the best units in the game are all on that team. Superclass, that is. Whereas Gamma 1 and 2, I don't own him, I keep forgetting. I don't own this character, which I don't really mind, because again, he's far below any other character on superheroes. These guys are not that impressive, and I think that's a point to be made, honestly. A lot of people just kind of have that conversation, oh, Gamma 1, Gamma 2, no. It's very clear-cut on the fact that Gohan Beast is just instantly better, and this character was released at a really bad time, if you ask me. They're really cool, their animations are sick, but if you're releasing with Gohan Beast, who's just that good, why would you summon on this character's banner? The only value that you can really get from this character is when you're doing artificial life forms, androids, these Heart Special Pose, which is an up-and-coming team. It's on the way to becoming a fully fledged team on Global. But if you want to build these teams, then yeah, I think Gamma 1 and 2 are definitely a kind of character that you need to have, simply because of the standby skill. It allows them to deal so much damage, and you can continue the fight pretty well with just Gamma 1 post-standby, and so I think that is definitely a point to be made, that while the character, in terms of basically every single aspect that you could possibly discuss in terms of comparing characters in the game, they're not horrible, and they certainly still have worth, because they're on teams that no other anniversary character, no other 9th anniversary character is on, and I guess that does give them value, even if they may not be the best on artificial life forms, because they're Cell Max. But I guess we'll talk about Cell Max in the future. When he does release on Global, I think that'll be fair. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. Gohan Beast just wins outright. What's the word that I'm looking for here? He just wins unanimously in every single possible category you decide to pit him against with Gamma 1 and 2. Gohan Beast cleans them all out. And so, yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this video. It's probably the most... It is the biggest waste of time ever. I think this is going to end up being like 15 minutes or something like that. So I guess you can have this running in the background if you want to hear me just praise Gohan Beast, then yeah, sure, you can have it running in the background. But yeah, Gohan Beast is basically better in every single aspect than Gamma 1 and 2, except for when you're trying to do artificial life forms and certain missions that actually require a character with the specifications in terms of categories and links as Gamma 1 and 2. But in terms of synergy, in terms of standalone performance, this Gohan Beast is uncontested. On a superclass, he is a superclass character, but I think the conversation of having extreme class characters is definitely one to have. And I think in the future I should definitely make a video comparing Gohan Beast to Cell Max. So let me know in the comment section down below if you'd like to see that, and if you agree with my take, if you disagree with how badly I've disrespected Gamma 1 and 2, and also if you have any additional criticisms in regard to the video, like is there anything wrong I said? Is there anything maybe possibly offensive to Gamma 1 and 2 fans? Let me know down below in the comment section down below. I said, how many times did I say down there? But yeah, let me know, because I'd love to hear from you, and the feedback is more than appreciated. Make sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe just to make sure that you're notified when I do drop another video in the future. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. Bye, thanks for watching.